Magnificent creature, she said enthusiastically, her voice booming a little. Nothing else stood a chance. Lady Warburton smiled as if in agreement. Bertie Rosyth, slender, fair, superbly tailored, was trying to mask his boredom, and doing it rather well. If Vespasia had not known him, she might have been duped into imagining he was interested in horse flesh. Isabel was beside her, darkly striking, less than beautiful, but with fine eyes and a ready wit. "Magnificent creature indeed," she whispered. "And Lady Solchester herself certainly never had a chance." "What are you talking about?" Vespasia asked, knowing that there must be many layers to the remark. "Fanny Oakley," Isabel replied, leaning even more closely. "Didn't you see her at Ascot? Whatever were you doing?" "Watching the horses," Vespasia answered dryly. "Oh, don't be absurd," Isabel laughed. "Good heavens, you didn't have money on them, did you? I mean real money?" Vespasia saw by Isabel's face that she was suddenly concerned in case Vespasia were in gambling debt. Not an unheard-of difficulty for a young woman of considerable means and very little to occupy herself, her husband away a good deal of the time, and endless staff to care for her home and her children. Vespasia wondered for a chill moment if Isabel were really acute enough in her observation to have seen the vague, sad stirrings of emptiness in Vespasia's marriage, and to have at least half understood them. One wished to have friends. Without them, life would hold only shallow pleasures, but there were areas of the heart into which one did not intrude. Some aches could be borne only in secret. Isabel could not have guessed what had happened in Rome during the passionate revolutions of 1848. No one could. That was a once-in-a-lifetime love, to be buried now and thought of only in dreams. Vespasia would not meet Mario Carena again. This, here in Applecross, was the world of reality. "Not at all," she replied lightly. "The race does not need the edge of money to make it fun." "Are you referring to the horses?" Isabel asked softly. "Was there another?" Vespasia retorted. Isabel laughed. Lord Solchester saw Vespasia and acknowledged her appreciatively. Lady Solchester smiled with warm lips and a glacial eye. "Good evening, Lady Vespasia," she said with penetrating clarity. "How charming to see you. You seem quite recovered from the exertion of the season." It was a less than kind reference to a summer cold that had made Vespasia tired and far from herself at the Henley Regatta. "Let us hope next year is not too strenuous for you," she added. She was 20 years older than Vespasia, but a woman of immense stamina who had never been beautiful. Vespasia was aware of Lord Solchester's eye on her, and even more of Omegas Jones's. It was the latter that tempered her reply. Wit was not always funny, if it cut those already wounded. "I hope so," she answered. "It is tedious for everybody when someone cannot keep up. I shall endeavour not to do that again." Isabel was surprised. Lady Solchester was astounded. Vespasia smiled sweetly and excused herself. Gwendolen Kilmuir was talking earnestly to Bertie Rosyth. Her head was bent a trifle, the light shining on her rich brown hair and the deep plum pink of her gown. She was widowed well over a year now, and had only recently taken the opportunity to cast aside her black. She was a young woman, barely 28, and had no intention of spending longer in mourning than society demanded. She looked up demurely at Bertie, but she was smiling, and her face had a softness and a warmth to it that was hard to mistake. Vespasia glanced at Isabel and caught a pensive look in her eye. Then a moment later she smiled, and it was gone. Bertie turned and saw them. As always, he was gracefully polite. Gwendolen's pleasure was not as easily assumed. Vespasia saw the muscles in her neck.